Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Colleen Delaney. This is a book haul and I have a new microphone. I'm obviously extremely excited that I'm gonna have better sound quality, but let's get started right away with the books. I separated my book hauls by where I bought them. So I have books from my Book of the Month subscription. I have a bunch from Half Price Books. One from Marketplace and two that I got online via Amazon. Starting with Book of the Month, my November pick was The Family by Naomi Krupitsky. This book follows two young girls, Sophia and Antonia. They are neighbors, best friends, and connected by their fathers, who are both involved in something called The Family, which from reading the blurb sounds kind of like an organized crime unit. The book will follow them through childhood, where they face certain hardships, into their adulthood as they become mothers and they become adults. I picked this book for two reasons. One, I absolutely love books that span decades. It's like my favorite kind of story. If we start and we watch someone's entire life, I really, really love those kind of books. I feel like you get to know the characters so well and you really walk away from those books like feeling like you met new people. And the second reason I picked it is because I haven't read a historical fiction in a while. I was looking at the books that were offered this November, and while the contemporary fiction that was offered seemed interesting too, some of the trigger warnings seemed like they wouldn't be great for me to read right now, so I decided to go with this. I am very excited. I will let you know what I think. I am definitely going to read it in November, so this will be part of my November wrap-up in a few weeks. And then I very rarely can order from Book of the Month without getting an add-on, and I had a free add-on this month. One of my cousins signed up using my code, so I get to get a free book. So I picked It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Now, I have been recommended Colleen Hoover by many people, including someone named Carol on one of my comments, that she's a fantastic writer. And when I read a review of this book, I try not to read like too deep of reviews because I do want to be surprised by the plot, but just like a short blurb said, it will rip your heart out. And I do really like books that rip your heart out. Now, there is something I'm a little interested in. On the back, sometimes Book of the Month puts the genre, and it has love story written. And when I looked it up, some places said it was romance and some places said it was a love story. So I am not sure if this is going to have a traditional happily ever after or happy for now that a romance would, or if it's more like a romantic tragedy. We'll see. Either way, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm definitely going to give it a whirl. I'm not sure if I'll get to this in November because my TBR is very intense this month, but I will definitely read it in December if not. Moving on to Half Price Books, I have found some amazing things there this month. First off, The Winter Garden by Kristin. I actually already had this on my January TBR because I really like to read books that are atmospherically winter in January and February that have nothing to do with the holiday season. So I'm always kind of on the lookout for books that could fulfill that. And I think it came up as like a recommended read on Goodreads. I have never read a Kristin Hannah. I have almost picked up like 7 of her books. And so I decided this would be it. I was at Half Price Books and I just saw it and it said, it's a sign. I'm going to buy it right now. So this book is another one that takes place over decades, not really decades, but 2 lifetimes that we jump back and forth between. So I'm really excited for that. The first paragraph in the back of the book is what really sold me. So let me read that to you. Mesmerizing from the first page to the last, Winter Garden is one woman's sweeping, heartbreaking story of love, loss, and redemption. At once an epic love story set in World War II Russia and an intimate portrait of contemporary mothers and daughters poised at the crossroads of their lives, it explores the heartbreak of war, the cost of survival, and the ultimate triumph of the human spirit. It is a novel that will haunt the reader long after the last page is turned. So that definitely sold it for me. It also takes place in Leningrad, which is now St. Petersburg, and my husband and I went to St. Petersburg on our honeymoon, so I do feel like a connection to this city, so I'm very much looking forward to tackling this book. I will save this, though, till January so I can get a wintry read in that has nothing to do with the holidays. The next book I got from Half Price Books is The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. This I thought sounded kind of like a thriller, but then when I looked up the genre, some places had it as suspense, some places had it as romance, some places had it as domestic fiction, so I'm not really sure what to expect with this book. I do know that it's a Jane Eyre retelling, but when I first read the inside flap, I thought it was a Rebecca retelling, and I will explain why. So we follow Jane, which obviously makes it seem more like Jane Eyre, who is broke and a dog walker in a wealthy neighborhood. She meets Eddie. I'm pretty sure Rochester's first name is Edward. If I'm not positive, I'm pretty certain. Who is rich, brooding, handsome, and recently widowed. They start a relationship, but it feels like his former wife is always there, and Jane feels like she could never live up to her, which is why I got more Rebecca vibes than Jane Eyre vibes. It's been a really long time since I read Jane Eyre, but I didn't feel like Jane ever felt like, I don't know, intimidated. Did she even know Rochester had a former wife? I can't even remember. I haven't read Jane Eyre since 2004. It's been a minute. I am interested to see where this goes. I haven't read anything by Rachel Hawkins, but I did read The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling, and after I bought this, I found out they're the same person. But the genres are completely different, so I'm going to go into it as well as I can, thinking it's a different author. We'll see if I can manage it. My next purchase from Half Price Books was October Country by Bradbury. Okay, here's the thing. I've been going to Half Price Books a lot because ours is like in a mini mall, and it's like by a Carter's where I get kids' clothes, and I was in there also a couple days ago because it's next to DSW, so I just pop in a lot. I grabbed this on October 30th, knowing full well that I'm not going to read this until next year, but it was on sale for $2.99 and I really couldn't pass it up. It doesn't have a broken binding. This is literally a paperback that's never been read and was printed in, this copy was printed in 1996, and it's in like impeccable condition for $2.99. So I had to grab it rather than wait because I'm sure in September it's not $2.99, that it's marked up further. It's a collection of short stories. I know they're supposed to be creepy. I'll definitely look forward to it in October, but for now I am going to pop it on my shelf for about 11 months. The next book I found was One Night with You by Sophie Jordan. It was super on sale for under $4, and I've gotten really into Sophie Jordan lately. I think I've read 3 of her books this year, and I haven't read this one. I haven't read any in the series, and I think it's the 3rd book. Yes, it's the book 3 in the Daring series. Usually historical romances, you can jump in anywhere in the series and you're going to understand it, but I really love the premise because it is Lady Jane Guthrie, who's basically treated like a servant by her family, and she decides to have one night to herself. She gets all dressed up, goes to a masquerade ball for courtesans, but when she's there, she runs into Seth Rutledge, who broke her heart years before, deciding to leave her and go after her snotty older sister. But she's in disguise, and he wants to kiss her, and we go from there. Seth has been to war and come back a little bit bitter. I'm really looking forward to this. I love Sophie Jordan's books. They're so much fun, and I got it for so inexpensive. I also love these books because when I finish them, I give them to my sister, and I like being able to do that, knowing that I'm going to read a book, and I already know after I review it in whatever wrap-up I end up reviewing it, it's going to go right to her, and she's going to love it too. My next 2 finds at Half Price Books were a bit of a miracle. Little background story. So in about 2006, I started collecting the Time Life Enchanted World series, which if you're not familiar with is a 21-book set, all having to do with myths and folklore from around the world. At the time, I was working at an independent bookstore, and we did like a Secret Santa exchange. And the woman who gave me 3 of those books because she had loved them so much when she was a kid, and she knew how much I loved fantasy and mythology. So for about the next 7 years, I collected these books. I found them at used bookstores, I found them on eBay, I found them online and random websites. But I got to a point where the ones I didn't have were really rare, and I couldn't find them for good prices. And by this point, I was like in grad school, and I really couldn't justify spending, $50 on a book at that time in my life. So I'm just randomly walking down an aisle in Half Price Books, and I see these spines out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, oh, that's the Enchanted World series. I might as well just look and see if they have any of the ones I don't have, fully expecting that they don't, because the ones I don't have are hard to find. They had 2. So they had Gods and Goddesses, which this one was very hard to find. I did stop looking for these because I just kind of was like, oh, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to complete my collection, but it is what it is. And they had Giants and Ogres, which I remember this being one that like I just couldn't find at all. Like Gods and Goddesses was one I could find, but it was just way too expensive. The best part about this find, they were both $5. $5. I'm almost positive the last time I saw this one, it was like $50. So I was really excited. I've read all the other ones I have, so I will definitely be reading these over the next couple months. There are 21 books in the whole series, and now I have 16. So I have 5 to go. If you are aware of these books and maybe inherited them from your grandparents or your aunt or uncle or your parents, and you think to yourself, I don't really want these, here are the ones I am looking for if you are looking to sell your books. The Book of Christmas, Ghosts, Tales of Terror, Lore of Love, and The Secret Arts. Those are the 5 I'm still looking for. The Book of Christmas I really want, and I did find it on a website a couple days ago because one of my friends was like, oh, you should. I was telling her this story, and she's like, you should check out this website. Now I can't remember what it is, but I can text her and find it. And they did have the Book of Christmas on there, but it was a really reputable seller. Like, it was only for $10, but the seller had a 2-star rating, which I feel like I wouldn't get that book, or it would be very damaged. Okay, switching over to books I found on Marketplace. So my town actually does this cool thing where we have our own separate marketplace from the Facebook marketplace, and you have to live in our town. And I've been able to find some good books on there, and I found The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue for $5. And it's a hardcover, and it's clearly only been read once. So this obviously, like most people, have heard of everything about it, and there's been tons of reviews and hype and all that. One of my really good friends read it a few months ago and told me that I needed to read it. She said I would love it. So I also really wanted to own it. They've had it at my library available for months, but I thought, like, this is probably a book that I'm really going to want to own if my friend who I trust said I'm going to love it. I don't know that much about this book because I have been trying really hard not to be spoiled on it. I know it's about a woman who has some sort of curse or spell on her to have a very long life, but no one will ever remember her, and that the story takes a turn when someone remembers her. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I mean, it had the best on the flap. It says, never pray to the gods that answer after dark. And I'm like, well, yeah, that sounds fantastic. This again spans hundreds of years. I love books that take place over a long period of time. And lastly, I did order 2 books from Amazon, and they will be of no surprise if you have been watching this channel, because they are the next 2 books in the Stay a Spell series, which I'm currently obsessed with. They are Witches Get Stitches by Juliette Cross and Walking in a Witchy Wonderland by Juliette Cross. Witches Get Stitches is book 3, and it is Violet and Nico's story. We have a witch-werewolf pairing, which is my favorite, so I'm super excited. Nico, we met briefly in the first book and a little bit in the second book too. He is Mateo, the hero from book 1's cousin, and there is something that happened between him and Violet a few years earlier, and now he is in New Orleans and he wants her back. And Violet is, I feel like, the toughest of the Savoy sisters from what we've met of her in the first 2 books, so I really can't wait. I'm going to read this as soon as I finish the book I'm reading right now, and I will probably read it in like 2 days. I'm so excited. Walking in a Witchy Wonderland is actually not a full book in the series. I assumed it was when I ordered it because I don't really read blurbs of books that I know I want to read no matter what. So this one is actually 5 short stories. So we get a story for Evie and Mateo. We get a story for Isadora and Devraj. We get a story for Violet and Nico. And then we also get a story for Charlie, who is a side character and works at the restaurant/bar that they work at. And JJ, who's another character who you can tell in some of the books that they have like some weird tension going on. And then lastly, we also get, I'm looking to see which sister it is because I can't remember. We also get a little sneak peek at Lavinia, who I thought this whole book was going to be about her, but it is Lavinia and Gareth Blackwater, who's a Grimm. And they've introduced the ideas of Grimms in this book, but they're very secretive and you don't really know what their powers are, only that they live so long. So I'm really looking forward to getting a taste of this. I don't know if Gareth and, I don't know how to say that name, Gareth and Lavinia are going to get their own book. I hope they are. I hope it's next. I've been stalking Juliette Cross's website and there's been no information, which I'm sure she's like, I literally just released the book like 3 weeks ago. I'm not going to put up what's coming out next yet, but I can't wait. So this will definitely be a fun holiday read to read in December. I usually read like 1 or 2 Christmas books a December because I'm not like super into Christmas, but I'll definitely read this one. Let me know if you have read any of these books and if you loved them, if I need to move anything up further in my TBR to get to it faster. At the moment, I'm thinking Addie LaRue is going to be a January read as well as The Winter Garden. I'm definitely going to read The Family this month, and It Ends With Us is probably going to border November and December when I'm actually reading it. The Wife Upstairs is looking like December. One Night With You by Sophie Jordan, I think I'm going to read in December. So I'm just kind of figuring out my TBR for the next couple months because I am a super planner, and then obviously I usually change 50% of it. But if there's anything you feel like I should get to right away, other than Witches Get Stitches, because I will obviously read that immediately, and The Family. I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up and a comment. I would love it. I will see you soon. Keep reading.